Alright, so hello and welcome to my first filmed flight. So this is a Landaway cross-country sort of thing. So initially we're going from Oxford and we're going to Wellsbourne, Mountford. We'll talk a bit about that while we're in the cruise, but however, let me talk what we're going through now. So we're going through the internal checks. So I've already checked for seats, made sure it's adjusted and locks. Made sure the harnesses and the hatches, basically the seatbelt is all adjusted and secured. Checked parking brake, the instruments, just the flight controls, the trimmers, flaps. Now I'm just doing the the cabin air controls, so that's what I'm just moving there. Cycling the throttle, ensuring that it is full and free, and setting it 1/4 of an inch, same with the mixture, which is that red lever just there. Next, turn on the master switches. So they're basically the master switches in terms of the electronics. So turn it all on. As you can see, stuff's going to start coming alive on the screens in front of you. Checking fuel pump, ensuring we have fuel. Getting the key. Just checking over, opening the window so I can shout outside. Making sure there's no air to the left, the front, or the right of the aircraft. Inserting the key, just so I can start the aircraft.
Clear prop!
So, there we go, the engine's all started now, closing the PVC cover and donning on the headphones. So we're all started up now, going to be selecting frequencies now, ensuring we've got the correct information, so we've got the right ATIS on board, the letter and the QNH as well. So that's what I'm just noting now. That just ensures we've got the right pressure, altitude, so that our altimeters actually reading the right altitude, because obviously it's quite helpful. Also, taking note of what runway's in use. So it's the same runway that was in use before. It's runway 01 at Oxford. Also taking note of the wind is quite a heavy crosswind for the majority of the flight today. It's about 20 knots for the whole flight. Just so I'm taking a photo of the Hobbs number, so that's just under the RPM. It's on the same gauge, and that's basically what we use to bill the or bill myself basically. So we take it out start and the end of the flight. So here I'm just setting up the navigation display. You'll see throughout the flight it goes in and out of view. That's just because of polarization and all that FNAF. Now I'm just getting a taxi clearance, so this is Oxford Tower I'm requesting clearance from, and they're going to give us a taxi via the grass to hold short of Tango, and we'll see why that's important shortly. So here we go, just going to start our taxi now. So we're just coming in onto Tango now, and we're just going to hold short of the on the grass, so just before the concrete. Now Oxford's a very busy airport with multiple different types of aviation at the airport. Obviously flight schools like this one, the aircraft I'm flying now. Business jets, they take up a lot of traffic here, as well as other stuff like helimed and helicopter traffic. So that's the reason we're holding for now, because we've got this business jet come past, and obviously with a nice business jet and no movement, as we're currently holding, a photo is mandatory. It's got a nice Venom jet just going left to right now. But that's not it. As I say, it's quite busy at Oxford, so we actually end up holding for quite a while. Next in line, it's just come left right now, is an RV7. Haven't flown in one of these before, but did get the chance to, but unfortunately the weather wasn't very good. But that's not it. There's one more traffic. It is a Cirrus. Yes, it's just coming into view now. Getting a lovely video of the three of them complaining to my friends about having to sit in traffic. So that's now just passing us. Put the phone away. Let's give ourselves all the, not all the attention, all the make sure we've got attention on the flight. Words to say, in fact. So I was just talking then, that was in response to air traffic control telling me to continue taxi following the Cirrus. Hold Alpha 1, runway 01 via Alpha. So that's where we're taxiing down now, as you can see. So we've just skipped ahead, no point doing the whole taxi, and we're now going to do our pre-departure checks. So we're setting the aircraft now to 1,200 feet, grabbing my checklist, ensuring location we're positioned into wind. We're not actually, but unfortunately the aircraft's not quite agile, like the RV7 you might see just ahead of me, but I did it fully. So now assessing it to 2,000 RPM, just ensuring the brakes are holding. Next I'm selecting carb heat there, so I'm just selecting to hot and making sure that there's a maximum drop of 75 RPM on the RPM meter. Then I'm checking my magnetos, so it should be on both, but I'm checking it on only left and only right, checking that there's a maximum drop of 175 RPM and that there is a difference of 50, or maximum difference of 50 RPM between left and right. Then I checked for suction, so making sure we've got suction and that the ammeter's charging. The engine RPM T's and P's are limits, and then just RPM, so that's idling and making sure it's between those two lines. Then I'm setting it to 2,000. Next I'm doing my pre-takeoff checks, so I'm checking trimmer. just beginning our first turn now. It's going to be direct to Enstone. So this is an airport just northeast of the aerodrome. Just grabbing my plug so that is suitable, so I know what heading I'm turning on and what time I'm expecting to get there. Only takes us about 4 minutes to get there, especially in this weather. With this mad crosswind, it's currently actually heading as a tailwind. It's helping us with our ground speed, meaning we'll get there slightly quicker. Now completing the climb, we're going from obviously the aerodrome elevation all the way up to 3,000 feet. I believe QNH was 1018 at this point. Now what I just did there was I just changed frequencies, so we just got told by tower to contact the radar. So because I already preset the frequencies, all I had to do was just transfer it. Here I am just contacting the tower now, contacting the radar, requesting for a basic service, and they've responded basic service, no level restriction. Now when I was doing my just before departure, I was having a bit of a thought myself. Now the glide of you might have seen on the transponder, that's just into the GPS big display, but the number might have changed from 4520 to 4521. Now the reason why is because Oxford has a squawk on the inbound and the outbound, so if you're arriving or departing. Now I was actually unsure which one's which. Turns out that 4520 is both outbound and inbound, which must be a change recently, because I'm sure one was, or the outbound was 4520 and the inbound was 2521. However, when I was departing, I couldn't quite remember which one. I was convinced it was 4520, but then I remembered that's what we had on the arrival, so I thought it must be 21. So there we go, just been told to squawk 4520 for correct squawk. And unfortunately, the GoPro's mount decides to give up. So this is pretty much the view we get for the rest of the flight. So you get a nice bit more of me, loads of the instruments, and hardly anything outside. However, to be fair, with the visibility today and the fact the GoPro's not much higher than the actual glare shield itself, or the engine canopy, you can't actually see much further than the engine canopy itself. So you're not really losing on much. Just a transmission there. Radar asked me what level I'm climbing to. The reason they were doing that is just so they could give traffic service or traffic information to another aircraft that was on traffic service. So I replied with 3,000 feet. Now I was just grabbing my plug there, and suddenly, straight away, hit with a gust. Luckily, managed to sort it out and then grab the plug. Fortunately, you can't quite see how well. I guess for the rest of the flight, it looks like I'm getting gusted massively because you can't quite see the horizon compared to your horizon. However, the majority of the flight, we were obviously flying straight in level, obviously. So what I was just doing there, just before, was I was just updating the actual time of arrival at Enstone, and now we're currently overhead ships in the south, so we've skipped ahead to our next waypoint. I was also using a map to ensure I did a gross error check, so this is basically when I'm turning to my next heading, I'm checking I have actually turned the right direction. So looking at a point and then checking, is that on my left, is that on my right, should it be on my left or should it be on my right? What we've also done is we've also now contacted Wellsbourne information, so we're just now passing our message. So we've been told to squawk conspicuity, so we're now squawking 7000 and that Oxford radar service has terminated and that we are now to contact Wellsbourne. So we've now requested basic service and they've told us to pass our message. So following message is what I said. Wellsbourne information, Golf Papa Echo Tango Romeo PA28 Oxford to Wellsbourne. Currently overhead, ships on sours, altitude 2,800 feet on the QNH 1018. Request basic service and aerodrome information. So FISO now, Flight Information Service Officer, is passing the runway in use. So it was actually runway 05 in use, and it's a left-hand circuit. However, runway 05 is quite short, runway 36 is much longer. And the thing about FISOs is they're a bit different to a full ATSU, an air traffic service unit, where they don't actually control aircraft in the sky or in the air. So I can actually say, I'm going to be using runway 36, and he just has to say Roger. So that's what I did. It's a much shorter runway 05. It has got a headwind, the wind's perfectly down runway 05. However, it's not something I would have felt comfortable doing, especially with it being an aerodrome I've literally only just flown to a whole hour beforehand. This is my second time flying here. So we're going to use runway 36. What does that mean for us? It's basically going to mean we're going to have a direct crosswind of about 20 knots, which is quite a lot, but it wasn't anything that I couldn't handle. Now, the nice thing about these routes is you don't really have to do much of looking at your map, because you can pretty much see your waypoint straight out the window. So at least if you can figure out 100% that's the way, and that is the actual landmark, by using some features on the ground, then perfectly know we're there. So now I'm just picking out the airports, looking for Wellsbourne now. Now we're just starting our descent, so I've just pulled the power slightly to about 17,000 RPM and I've just put the carb heat on. So we want to descend with a bit of power just so we're not shock cooling the engine, because obviously as we descend we're going to cooler air and we don't want the engine that's just been working really hard to suddenly get really cool, because that's going to damage it. So we're descending nicely. We're going to descend from our starting altitude down to 2,000 feet on the QFV, and we're going to go for 2,000 feet all the way down till we start the overhead join. So we want to be at 2,000 feet for the overhead join, with 1,000 feet being the circuit. So just to recap, it's runway 36 and we're going to be doing a left-hand circuit. So here I'm just doing my downwind checks. Now in theory we do them downwind, however as we're in the descent nothing else is going on. We're going to just do it now, just so we're ahead of the game. So that's checking brakes are off, so the parking brakes not on. Checking the undercarriage is down. Obviously this is a fixed wing aircraft, fixed gear aircraft, so I can't really do anything, so I just hit where the gear selector would be. Then checking mixtures rich, fuel pump is on. The instruments are showing what they are, so we're at the right sort of altitude, which we weren't obviously because we're still descending. Checking the altimeter's pressure settings also set. Then we're checking our T's and P's, making sure it's all in green: oil pressure, fuel pressure, oil temperature, and that. Then making sure the carb heat's down. Obviously that should already be the case, and that the harnesses are all attached. Now we're going to be doing this. This is the overhead join. We're going to start by going over the runway threshold we're going to be landing on, going onto the dead side, descending to 1,000 feet, over the opposite runway threshold, down on the downwind, on the base leg, and then onto a final. So basically it's a circuit, but we obviously have to join on the circuit. So the CAA have their standard overhead join, which is what I've just described. So basically we're going to go over the circuit. So it's going to be now south of us. We're going to be onto the side event of the circuit's not active on, and then we're going to descend. As you can't quite see it, but the aerodrome is just to my left hand side now, and we're just crossing over the runway threshold. I'm ensuring that there's no aircraft, giving myself a good lookout. Just checking the altimeter setting because I'm convinced that what's just been reported is not what I was on, but it was. So now I'm just making sure I'm overhead of the runway and on the dead side. Reported that I'm dead side descending, just let go of the PTT and I'm now descending. Now this is quite a tight turn. In theory I could have widened it out slightly, but what's the fun in that? So we pulled power, now just down to 15,000 RPM, and we're just keeping the nose down. We can afford to allow the speed to increase because we're going to start, the second we get to 1,000 feet, we're going to lead off the speed straight away. So just allowing the aircraft now to get down to 1,000 feet. And you can see I've actually just gone through it, and I get myself a bit preoccupied and don't quite look at the altitude for a while, and I fix it later on in the circuit. I'm the only one in the circuit, so it's not necessarily a massive issue, but when we're at airports where they've got both a rotary and a fixed wing circuit above each other, like at Gloucester Airport, that's where it really becomes key. Here we go, I've just noticed it. I kind of give myself a half-hearted look. Well, actually, sorry, I've jumped ahead of myself. I've just set myself that I'm happy at 1,000 feet, or what I thought was 1,000 feet. At some point I do notice and rectify it half-heartedly. Now I'm just checking the runway itself. There is a aircraft that I believe was just on final to land, so I'm just making sure I've got him. Otherwise I'm looking at the windsock just so I've got an overall picture in my head of what the wind is doing, and I'm just having a look at the aerodrome itself, making sure it's nice and serviceable. There's a lot of traffic that was just departing, just taxiing, so I had to wait a second to cool downwind. Cool downwind about 5 seconds ago, late downwind, and now I'm just waiting for my point to turn base. I'm just double checking on my tablet to make sure this is the town I think it is, and I'm not meant to go further than the town. So we're just gonna go between the town that's just on the left, just where my lovely head is, and a farm that's on the right hand side of the aircraft that you can't unfortunately see. So could have left it a bit longer to keep it a nice 90-degree turn, however military flying is what I want to do, and they fly circuits. That's they fly like a race course sort of circuit, so that's my excuse for the sloppy turn, keeping it a bit more of a 45-degree turn, 45-degree turn, and then going back. I guess it also goes back to glider circuits. When I used to do gliding, that's the sort of circuit they would do. So we're now just keeping an eye on our height. Wellsbourne runway 36, which is what we're landing on today, actually has a higher rate of descent and a higher glide path than most runways. Most are set at 3 degrees. This one's set at 4.25. So now we're just starting our descent. Runway's just to the 12 o'clock of the aircraft. Well, I guess actually 11 o'clock. With the crosswind, you'll see the aircraft's not at all pointing where the runway is. That's because I'm putting on a wind correction angle. So I'm basically looking out. I'm not looking where the aircraft flying per se. I'm looking out the window at the runway, and I'm just judging: are we left, right, above, or below? So as you can see, this is quite a steep approach. I'm ensuring we've got a third stage of flaps there, and just keeping it down. Now, my approach speed is a bit faster than normal. Normally it's 75 knots, 65 at third flap, whereas about now I'm about 80 knots. Now the reason for that is because I'm expecting a wind gradient going over the hills, so I'm just giving myself a safety margin. So at this point, just overhead the threshold, the wind does pick us up just before we land, so I'm just pulling power. There we go, just hit a bit of a wind gradient there, keeping it nicely down. We've actually landed. It's not, you can't really see much of a landing because it was quite a smooth one. Just kicking the rudder, that's your best goal, or best view of me actually landing, was the rudder and the aircraft yawing straight. So now landed runway 36, we're going to vacate onto Bravo just down here, and we're going to just skip ahead. So in the meantime, what would have been done on taxiing is my checks, which we haven't displayed just to keep the video nice and short. Now parking, so we're going down main apron to park on the grass in front of the tower. As you can see, loads of parking to the left. This is all on the grass. Got a Cessna 150 coming up on our left now. That's going to be my target. Well, my target to turn after, and the red aircraft to the right of us, which you'll see in a second, is going to be the one we turn on. Now that aircraft there had an interesting call sign. It was Golf Uniform Sierra Alpha Alpha, obviously USA, and this one also had an interesting aircraft in the sense of it makes a word. Golf Charlie Mike Oscar Mike for mum. That's what I class as a fun call sign. Putting parking brake on, setting 1200 RPM, which was already done. Checking for a dead stop on the left or right to magneto. Cutting the throttle and cutting the mixture as well. Allowing the aircraft to starve itself with fuel. Once that's done, keys are off. Put it up there. Turn off the avionics, power. Put off the headset and just look at the absolute beautiful headset plunger mark I've got on the side of my head. Little did I know that it was there, and didn't realise it was for the rest of the day. So that is the end of the video. That's the whole flight all done, so hope you enjoyed.